everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back. Our guest today is a very good friend of mine, Mark Yaxley. He is the director at Strategic Wealth Preservation. Welcome back, Mark.
Yeah, Ivan, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. Thank you so much for coming down and speaking to the precious metals community. I wanted to get you down to talk about, all the excitement that's happening in precious metals. We've had such a tremendous year so far. In the recent week, silver has gone up again above $51. Gold is climbing up again. A lot of people are talking about that cup and handle. So I wanted to ask you, Mark, how do you currently view like the fundamentals driving gold and silver prices? And what factors do you think is having the biggest impact?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest takeaway right now, Ivan, with the market is we obviously had an incredible year, as you said. Silver's up 73% year to date, gold 55%, platinum 67%. I mean, those are amazing returns for everyone in the space. And then, we have seen some pullbacks over the last couple of weeks. We saw some days where, silver and gold were down, which is completely normal and completely healthy. And the point, I wanted to start with today was to say the new floor that's been established, both for gold and silver, is really, really high. When you think about it, that silver is still within 5% of its all-time high. Or sorry, gold is within 5% of its all-time high, and silver is within 5% of its recent all-time high. We're still in really good shape, even though the market has consolidated. So right now, I'm kind of counting ourselves a little bit lucky that that's where we find ourselves, and that means the further upside, could be really, really big for both metals.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that, Mark. And what differences do you see in investor behavior right now? You're at Strategic Wealth Preservation. You have a little bit of more insight than your normal silver gold stacker. So, what do you see with investor behavior at SWP, demand between, gold, silver? What are you seeing more of? What are you seeing?
Yeah, good question. What we're seeing, we had our two biggest months in the history of the company in October, and now, we're at the end of November. Really, a lot of volume of metal being purchased, but also sold back. A lot of people are taking advantage of these prices and selling metal. So the market is kind of flooded with inventory. It's kind of a good time to pick up the phone and call your precious metals dealer, including SWP, and to ask, for a deal, because there are deals to be had in the market because there's a lot of metal being bought back as well. But that being said, we are seeing a lot of new buyers and a lot of new participants in the market as well. So it's kind of one of those rare times where it's almost a 50-50 split between, new buyers and people taking advantage of prices and selling off and taking some profits. And we are seeing a lot of silver moving. That was one of the takeaways from the monthly report that I read for October for SWP, prepared by our CFO, was a really dramatic increase in the amount of silver being traded right now.
Are they, increasing their silver holdings and storing it with you guys, or just purchasing them? Like, what is the standout?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the metal that we sell to our clients is stored in one of the vaults that we offer, whether it be Cayman or one of the other 13 locations around the world. So, a lot of that metal ends up with us. The other trend that we're seeing, which is interesting, I was talking to my logistics team actually just before our call together, and they were saying there's just a lot of metal shipping from people's homes. And the reason for that, and I should say shipping from people's homes into storage facilities. And the reason for that is that the value of the metal that they're storing at home has gone up so dramatically this
Oh
year
yeah.
that people are getting nervous. And that's never been a trend in my whole 20-year career that I've heard someone say to me, like, oh, the price has gone up so much, people want to ship it out of their houses. And I'm like, that's actually a really fair point. That's the kind of market that we find ourselves in now, and it's changing people's behavior.
Yeah, because if you've been buying silver, let's say since 2015, let's give that a benchmark, 10 years, and you have like 100, $200,000 worth of silver, this year that 200,000 has gone up to like 380 or 400,000. You're gonna want to at least put half of it or more than half away and store it somewhere. Can you explain the role of precious metals in a diversified investment portfolio? During times of geopolitical or financial uncertainty that we're seeing more and more every day, what is the role of precious metals in that investment portfolio?
Yeah, I think the case has been quite clear for precious metals. One, so there's really two key points. One is a hedge against inflation. And you know what? For the longest time in my career, I wasn't the biggest advocate of that particular talking point. But the last 5 years since COVID, essentially, and then all of the dramatic inflation that we've seen throughout the COVID period, I really think that's what we're seeing. Like the price action that we've seen in the last 2 years for precious metals is really a reflection of that huge amount of inflation that's worked its way into the system, and the prices have adjusted accordingly. And now I'm becoming a big proponent of kind of the long-term benefit of owning precious metals is it's just this perfect inflation adjustment or inflation hedge. So I think that's the first part. In the nearer term, in the short term, it's a great diversifier against, if you see like a lot of volatility in the equities market, for example, right now, it's been more volatile of late. You've got some of the AI stocks that have, been a little bit frothy and the market is correcting a little bit. Bitcoin, correcting quite severely as of late. And
Yeah.
having gold and silver in your portfolio acts as that near-term diversifier. So you've got the long-term inflation hedge, and then you've got the near-term diversification. And ultimately, gold and silver don't really perform like other asset classes. So that diversity in your portfolio is really, really important.
Hello, my silver and gold bugs. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Back to the video. And people have talked about, in the crypto, the crypto community have always said, Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation, or Bitcoin is, against the US dollar, and it's similar to gold. But if someone put in $100,000 2 months ago, 3 months ago into Bitcoin, or $100,000 into gold, you can tell you've lost a substantial amount in your Bitcoin holdings compared to gold. So, I always feel like, um, and this is not to, put down any of the cryptos or the Bitcoins of the world, but I always feel like gold and silver is always going to outweigh and hold way more value than any type of digital or, fiat or crypto. Do you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I don't want to rekindle the flame or the fire that burned for such a long time between the two asset classes. And truthfully, we see quite an overlap in our client base between people that buy gold and silver and people that invest in crypto. And what they're doing is they're kind of swapping back and forth. And we enable that through settlements in crypto. So we allow people to buy gold in crypto, and then they can sell that gold and get paid in crypto later on. But I mean, from what my research shows is that crypto and Bitcoin, I'm focusing on Bitcoin for a moment here, behaves more like a tech stock than it ever did gold. So
Right.
the correlation is much higher to like the tech market and that trend than it was to gold. So I know like the old kind of the old adage was that it's like digital gold, but that hasn't proven to be true. And so I think like the smartest thing you could do, going back to the point earlier, is like diversify. So you may want to own, gold as a pillar in your investment portfolio, and also own some cryptocurrency to further diversify. But they are not two of the same, that's for sure.
What is your outlook, Mark, on gold and silver demand from institutional investors versus retail buyers? Are you seeing that more and more these days? Or is SWP seeing institutional buyers, or maybe just your outlook in the next 2, 3 years? Are you starting to see institutional buyers into gold, silver, so on?
I think so. And there are some institutions that are much more proactive and at the forefront of and proponents of owning precious metals as part of a well-diversified portfolio. But most of them are actually quite late coming to the market. So they wait for an asset class to perform really, really well before they start advising their clients to get into that asset class, because the bank never wants to be in a position where it's a proponent of an asset class that's underperforming. So they tend to wait to make sure that the performance is almost guaranteed or a lock, and then they'll come into the market. So
Right.
we have been seeing more institutional business flow into the gold and silver market. And I think there's still more of that to come. You see some of the bank's predictions for gold. I think the number is really 5,000 right now, the most common number that's being thrown around by some of the big banks.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess, if what they're advising their clients to do when it comes to gold and silver is they're probably still long gold and silver right now, and they're probably still telling their client bases to diversify into the metals.
Absolutely. Now, before you go, Mark, I'd love to you just to give, your piece of advice or your guidance right now for any new people watching this channel. We have so many new people who are coming in, finding the silver and gold community for the first time. We've been doing it for many, many years. But there's people, and I haven't even been doing it that long, but there's so many new people. So what would be your advice to them?
Yeah, it's funny because I've been doing this for 20 years, and for 19 and a half of those 20 years, my friends and family largely ignored my advice and what I was doing for a living, and you stop talking about it because you don't want to be the guy who's trying to push something on their friends and family. But
Right.
recently, I am getting calls from my friends and family, and everyone is interested in the market. And the first question that they ask is like, is it too late? Did I miss it? Should I still invest in gold and silver? And the answer that I gave just today, actually, to someone that I consider a friend was it's always a good time to invest in precious metals. It's like investing in real estate. It's a long-term investment. And if you look at the 25-year chart, that's really all you have to do. Look at the 25-year chart since the year 2000, and you're going to see that long-term uptrend for gold and silver. So if you're debating it, my advice is just bite the bullet, buy your first ounce of gold or your first 100 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of silver, whatever you can afford, and get into the market and keep chipping away going forward.
Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a premier offshore jurisdiction where natural beauty meets financial stability. Here, your wealth is more than secure. It thrives in one of the most trusted and respected financial centers in the world. For over a decade, SWP has been the trusted choice for precious metal investors worldwide. Our purpose-built 6,000 square foot facility sets a new standard in precious metals storage. We are proud to be one of the only vault operators approved by the London Bullion Market Association. Beyond safeguarding your assets, we're committed to making a difference in our community by supporting local causes and events that reflect our values. As we continue to expand and innovate our services, we ensure that your wealth is safe and strategically positioned to shield you from the uncertainties that lie ahead. Strategic wealth preservation, trusted today and ready for tomorrow.
Forward.
Yeah, for people who, even I go to the gym and the pool and people will bring up silver and gold and they'll say, oh, they want to get into it. But yeah, I have the same advice as you is just, yeah, I just tell them it's just a bank. Like this is your personal savings bank. It's not going to you're not going to get rich overnight. Like you're really doing this for the long term. Instead of having your holdings in cash, put it in silver and gold over 10, 15, 20 years. You're purchasing, every 2, 3 weeks. This is your real wealth. But yeah, no, thank you so much for that, Mark. I want to thank you so much for coming down and speaking to the silver and gold community. Such a huge pleasure having you come down and giving the insights from SWP. Where can people find you guys? I'm going to put the link in the description below, but where can they find you?
Yeah, so it's swpcayman.com is our website. A lot of information about what we do. Obviously, we sell metal and we store metal for people. And then YouTube, we always mention it. Get an education first. We have a great YouTube channel as well, just like you do. You can learn a lot about buying gold and silver there.
Yeah, and I highly recommend everyone go subscribe to their YouTube channel, which I'll put in the description below. But thank you so much, Mark. As everything develops, and I'm sure there's going to be more excitement in the next year, love to have you back on soon.
Thanks, Ivan. Always a pleasure being here.
Take care.